the things you were looking for back then that were not coming so easy to you, maybe life fulfillment or a sense of value or a sense of purpose, do you feel as though that's become much more clear through this?
And now for something completely different.
Welcome to
Surrounded by Idiots
Radio Podcast.
From the JavaBud.com studios in beautiful Scottsdale, southwestern United States of America, this is the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast. I'm Tony Dufresne, PhD, your host as usual. And today, a very special episode of the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast. I have a guest back in, and it's actually none other than my own daughter, Rachel. Hey, Rach, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You've been on the show before, but this is a totally different circumstance this time. And I want to talk, the reason why I wanted you on and we talked about having you on again was to talk specifically about what you just went through, not the leukemia, because everybody, if anybody's been listening, I've talked about this a great deal over the past year because it's happened over the past year. Not about the illness itself and the treatment itself, but the difference in your life between how your life was before all that happened and now what's different. And then I want to talk about how you're handling your passion now versus before, which is being in musical theater. Mm-hmm. And it's a different gig now.
It is.
And you're doing great.
Thank you.
You're recovering, physically recovering.
Yes.
But when you get out of a thing called it's a nodal event. It's something that happens in your life that's an extreme thing, an extreme shift for whatever, could be a marriage, could be a major illness, could be losing somebody. It's a major shift. And once you get through that, a lot of times you think everything's the same, or you can go back to where you were because, okay, I'm better now and I can just start back to where I was. Well, the problem is that in that shift, and when you go through a process like that, a lot of things change. And the worst possible thing that can happen, and the reason why people get depressed and anxious and upset, and there's a lot of post-traumatic stress that happens, is because they take the old game plan from before and they try to think they can just use that now.
Right.
So can you talk about the fact what you ran into, your own experiences with that?
Yeah, everything changes. Everything changes. I think coming home, at first I was like, okay, I just need to make rest my priority and get stronger. But when I started feeling stronger, I just expected to be able to jump back into exercising with no trouble and jump back into taking care of the kids on my own, no trouble. Jump back into driving places, no trouble, and just kind of committing myself, I thought, to my regular life like I did before. But I came upon a lot of struggles because I get fatigued really easy, and I feel like my body gives out a lot easier. So a lot has changed. I guess I just had the same expectations as before I was sick, where I was able to do all those things. And since I started feeling better since my transplant, I thought that I was just able to jump right back into it, but I couldn't.
Right, because the expectation is, okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
I am better. I'm cancer-free, so I should be able just to rock and roll and just to do what I did before. Then you reach the reality of the fact that things are different. And it's not going to stay like that, especially after something, like after a big nodal event. They're different. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like that forever, but it is different. And the reason why people have a hard time with it is because they can't accept that because they can't see it. It's not a tangible thing. Tangible thing is like physical or something you can feel. And if you feel better, then then you feel better.
Yeah.
Right. In going into a philosophy sort of an explanation for this, because we talk about nodal event, that's psychology. Philosophy, it's an existential crisis is what it is. If you know anything about existentialism, basically you get out of it and all the things that you built your life on are a little different or gone or there's something new. And it sort of gives people subconsciously, from a philosophical perspective, a sense that, oh my God, all the things that I built my life on, the foundations, did they even exist, or were they even real, or were they the wrong ones because they're not here now?
People say that, going through cancer is hard for everyone, no matter what type you have. But a lot of people, I feel like, don't talk about how hard it is after. And I've had a lot of friends who have gone through the, cancer treatment who have said, yeah, it should be talked about more, but it's not. Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of those things where, like, you don't really understand it until you have to go through it. I'm really happy that my old life isn't what it is anymore. I actually think that now I'm living my best life.
Why?
Because I don't take things for granted, and I wake up every day like appreciative of the fact that I'm living. And I just try and spend every moment with people that I love and want to be around, and those that I don't love and don't want to be around, I don't really make them a huge part of my life anymore. I don't feel the need to always be yes man, and I feel like I've really found my tribe through this experience.
It's interesting how a tragic event or a big event in your life can give you some sense of clarity.
Right. If
you're open to it and you're not freaking out.
Yeah.
Because the initial thing is to freak out because things are different and you're like, oh my God, and you have these expectations. When you start to gain a level of clarity, did you realize that maybe the things you were looking for back then that were not coming so easy to you, maybe life fulfillment or a sense of value or a sense of purpose, do you feel as though that's become much more clear through this?
Yeah. I think teaching, I always, like, the reason I went into teaching is because I wanted to inspire others. And I feel like I did, but teaching's hard and you're not really appreciated, especially where I was, just not appreciated
I think
all.
Knowing a lot of teachers, I think that's kind of a common thing.
Yeah, I think it's a very common thing. And I feel like now I'm like inspiring others and I'm not even working. I mean, I'm working, trust me, I'm working my ass off, but to get better and to help people and
being a mom too.
Being a mom,
and
of
getting
course,
back
that's
to
always
that,
first.
which
but,
is huge.
Yes, but I feel like, it's funny, the past like couple weeks I've had all these people I haven't talked to in a long time reach out to me and just tell me, I just want to let you know that, like, you've really inspired me. And that's like what I always would strive for, teaching. So I feel like I'm not having to do all that crap and I'm still changing people's lives. And that's what I've always wanted to do.
Did that take a while to sink in for you? Because I'm thinking that the expectation beforehand, the pre-tragedy, was I need to work. I want to teach. This is my value that I'm giving. It's also providing for my family. It's a dual income. This is helping us. After getting through this process and not being able, because literally you cannot work right now, did you go through a guilt, or did you go through, what process did you go through and finally come out to the realization that you're actually helping people more now than you did before?
Yeah, I think I felt guilty, just from little things, I'm not bringing in the income. I think just realizing that I am, what you said, like, I am helping people, and that's what I've always wanted to do. And I don't have to work to inspire other people. I can do it just by being me and sharing my gift with other people.
All that being said, I want to kind of wrap the show up in the last few minutes and talk about, sort of using it as a metaphor or an analogy. You are huge musical theater. Mm-hmm. You've been doing it forever. You've been in a pretty much every play that I can possibly think of. And are
saying enough to
great.
You.
And yeah, there's been a lot of singing. There was a lot of singing earlier, and to the point where I had to shut it down. That being the case, you were big in the musical theater. This happened. Mm-hmm. Let's talk and use that as an example of how things change and how expectations and frustrations happened after you got out, and then how you dealt with that.
Yeah, so right now I am in a musical, Shrek. I'm really excited, through Places Productions, which one of my dearest friends is the creator of. And I was really excited to audition for a show. I was like, yes, I'm going to get back on stage. This is awesome. And I think the expectations I had set for myself was like, just go out there and do your thing. And auditions came around and I was like, wow, this is a lot harder for me. My voice isn't the same as it used to be, because my body's changed so much. Picking up choreography used to be so much easier for me. And now I have to really watch it multiple times to be able to do it. It's harder. It's so much harder. And I was so mad at myself. And I even remember, talking to my friend about it and just expressing my frustration because I felt like I've done this my whole life. I should be able to do it. But that wasn't the case. So I'm still having a really good time, and I'm really happy I'm doing the show. But yeah, it took a lot of mental pep talks because I was comparing myself to how I was before, and I'm not that same person.
What got you to surrender and to accept?
I feel like, honestly, just watching the people around me in the production, and I use them, like, they inspire me every day. And just like having my friends, like Allison and Rachel, they're the director and the choreographer of the show. They give me pep talks all the time about, just like doing what I can and trying my best and reminding me that it's okay if I need to sit out. And I feel like just having that support is good for me to hear because I'm so hard on myself.
Mm-hmm. Lean on your tribe.
Lean on your tribe. That's
it.
exactly what I'm saying. Like,
right?
You really find out who your tribe is, and I couldn't be more appreciative of that.
And and I've talked about that, and I did a whole paper in my graduate school about weddings and how you really find out who is in your tribe and who isn't during your wedding.
Right.
And it's the same, and this is a more severe situation, but still, that's the key. And I think that's the key to take away from the show is that you won't be able to do it on your own. The key is that you have a bunch of people around you, and even the people that are around you before everything happened may not be the people that end up being around you after something happens.
Correct.
And through that process, you understand who is who and who's going to be there, and then you just lean on each other.
And it's quality, not quantity. I've learned that too. Now I always try and be the best version of myself and the best friend that I can be for those other people who have been there for me through this hardest time. I would do anything for them.
So to wrap things up, here's your call to action. And the call to action is, not you, Rachel, but everybody else. Your call to action is, have you gone through something like this? Are you at a particular stage where you are going through something? Are you at a place where you have a level of unknowing? Do you have people in your lives that are pulling you in different directions? Maybe it's the time to take a really good look at who's around you. Maybe it's a really good time for you to see if you're operating right now on expectations of your life that you had a long time ago, and your life is different now. Regardless, you don't have to go through a cancer tragedy. You could just be in a different phase of your life. And most of the time, we all go through different phases of our lives, especially when you go through transitions. And, the whole reason I do this show and the whole reason I have clients is because they're going through major life transitions. And they need some guidance and they need some grounding. And the expectation thing is huge because you always carry it like a bag. You carry it like a Samsonite piece of luggage all with you over the mountain, and you don't realize that you open it up and you're trying to use the same clothes over the mountain in the desert that you were wearing over at the beach.
It's not healthy.
It's not, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then you're all frustrated and pissed off that the only clothes you have are clothes for the beach, and you're in the middle of the desert. So it's just So look at your life, see if you're operating on expectations that don't work for you anymore. And that's really the whole point. Thank you, Rachel, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. You can go to javabud.com, JAVABUD, for everything, website, the book links, and the whatnot. I am on Alexa Flash Briefings under Surrounded by Idiots Radio. YouTube videos I have started again, so you can go to YouTube under Java Bud. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach me at tony@javabud.com. See you next week.
I'm too tired to pretend I don't want to be alone. I'm calling all